Dit programma wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door het International Film Festival Rotterdam.
Welkom bij Big Talk van het International Film Festival Rotterdam. De stad is deze week volkomen filmgek. In het oude Luxor ontmoet Hans Maarten van der Brink het Israëlische regieduo Tal Granit Sharon Maymon van The Farewell Party. Een gitzwarte komedie over euthanasie in een bejaardenhuis in Jeruzalem.
מפעיל את השעון, החומרים שלך משתחררים באופן אוטומטי.
אתה לא רוצה להגיד לי מה אתה בונה הפעם?
אני בונה מכשיר להמתת חסד.
מכשיר להמתת חסד,
חבורה של רוצחים, זה מה שאתם.
אולי כדאי שנחזור בלילה. ככה אנחנו לא מושכים תשומת לב.
בן 40.
אתה יודע שאתה על 140? זה 750 שקל. טוב, אני אבטח לך הפעם, סע. אתה יודע, אמרתי שביטלתי.
אתה אהבת אותו מאוד, נכון? לא כל אחד היה עושה מה שאת עשית בשבילו. אני לא רוצה לעשות בעיות, רק צריך עזרה לאשתי.
ממה היא?
סרטן ריאות.
תגידי, מה את רוצה שאני אעשה?
אני רוצה שתרד אליו ושתגיד לו שאתה אולי רוצח, אבל לא רוצח סדרתי.
תגיד לי, מה קרה למקום הזה? השתגעו פה כולם.
Hi. Welcome.
Hi.
To Rotterdam and to our big talk. First question. You look rather young and healthy, and I suppose you have still a lot of films before you, which you want to write and direct. So, why this subject of dying, and how did you find it? Why did you have to make this film?
Well, the idea of the film came from the death of Helga. She was the grandma of my ex-boyfriend, and we were there in the day that she died. She suffered from cancer, and
she was quite old?
She was 89 years old, and we were there with her in the day that she died, and we saw how the death released her from pain and suffering. But then the paramedics came into the room, and for half an hour they were trying to bring her back. They tried to resuscitate her, and it was so absurd. I mean, the death released her, and even her son told us if they are bringing her back, they will take her with them, because it was so absurd moment. Yeah, that and
if they had been guilty of bringing her back to life, they had to take her.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, he used humor, you know.
That's humor, yeah.
Yeah. And from this absurd moment, the idea of the film came.
But what attracted you to that? Because it's also an uneasy subject.
You know, we're gonna get there someday.
All of us, yeah. That's one
us.
thing, that's for certain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, all over the world, people are getting sick and people dies, and we know that we would be there, and we would start. After this experience that Sharon told, we started to think, what do we want? What possibilities do we have? And we found out that we have no possibilities at all, almost.
Did I hear you say now, fortunately we all die?
Unfortunately.
Oh, unfortunately. Okay.
Well, I don't know.
Fortunately for the film, of course.
But you don't have to. I mean, 10 years ago, I had cancer.
Yeah.
So I have a short dance with death. I mean,
That also played a role in your mind.
Yeah. But when I had it, I always used humor to, you know, deal with the disease.
But you first started doing research then into the subject, because this was one incident with the grandmother of your friend.
Yeah.
No, first we just write a draft, and only then we go to do some research.
To see if it was right, that the thing you fantasized.
To enrich the script, you know, and to find the people, you know, we wrote the script for the two main leading actors, which we worked with them in the past. So we really knew how they talk and how they sound, and we know their character very well, so it was easy for us to write it for them and to portray the characters.
And you knew them well, so it was easy for you to think about them dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No.
They are still with us.
Yeah, fortunately.
You know, when we were searching for the money in Europe, one of the actors told us, he came with us for the pitching, and he told the audience, "Bring the money, I want to be in the premiere." And he came with us to
Clock's
Venice.
ticking. Yeah.
He's 78 years old.
Right. Did you know straight away that it had to be a comedy?
Yeah.
So, but why? I think you already hinted to it because you had a personal experience with it. But why, if you breach the subject at a greater length and not in one particular case, why does it have to be a comedy to make people think?
I don't think that it has to be a comedy, but
for you it had to be a comedy.
For us, that's what we're doing. When we're sitting to write, that's the natural for us to write a comedy or to deal with social issues in a comic way. We love to approach the audience. I mean, when we are writing a film, we are thinking about the audience too. We want to make them laugh.
You know, life is absurd. You know.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. What can you do?
They all know.
It will end. It will end one day.
End, yeah.
So this is the only way we know to deal with life. So this is the only way to deal with subjects I think like this also in movies, because when people laugh, we feel that their heart is more open to hear you, what you have to say.
Okay, they're less strict.
Yeah.
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 So you sat down to write. You always write together?
Yeah.
And you have a subject, dying, and you want to make it a comedy. You already know your two main characters, and you sort of have experience with what an audience likes. How does your writing process? It's almost as if all the work has already been done, or not?
No. We are writing together every day. We wrote this script together for...
Literally together?
Yeah, we're sitting together during all the week, even on Saturday. And we are writing together. We have lots of argues, and we're even arguing about a word in a sentence for something like 3 days.
The place of the word.
The place of the word.
3 days, one word.
Yeah.
How long did the writing take?
5 years, something like that.
Okay.
And we even went to, we are not a couple, but we went to couple therapy.
to become a couple?
No.
And is it indiscreet to ask what the solution to your couple problems was?
There isn't one, but we learned that we need, when we both, everyone has an idea, and we sometimes, we fight about our ideas. When we found the third solution, it's always best than the two ideas,
Oh, you need to throw away both of your ideas.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
But together we find the best one.
Okay. Well, of course, it was after you finished the script, it was necessary to find the actors, and you found a great ensemble for this film.
Yeah.
A great lineup. But
it was very important for us when we cast the actors to cast comedians. I mean, all the actors are comedians. The main character, Zev Revach, is one of the greatest comedians in Israel. But so we knew that when we will take
the audience knows that.
Yeah, they know
the
him,
faces and
but we took them to a serious situation because we knew that it still will have their comic DNA in the scene.
Yeah, but while you were casting, I can imagine that some actors, I mean, necessarily they are advanced in age, could find it a bit confrontational, this subject.
Yeah.
Let's do a film. Maybe it will be my last film. Let's make it about dying. And did everybody sort of agree with, hey?
No, one of the
How was the casting?
One of the characters just had cancer, and one of the actors, and he didn't want to play in the movie. And we called him, and we met with him a few times, and we really asked him to do the film. And he did, and at the end of the shooting, he comes to us and he said, I want to thank you for making me do this film.
The reason that he didn't want to do it is because he had cancer, something like 3 months before we
and he
came
thought
to him.
this is no laughing matter now.
Yeah.
So you not only succeeded in couple therapy, but also in sort of. That's great. No, that's not me. You. And one of the things I noticed, you sort of sidestep religious issues in the film, whereas in a lot of deathbeds there's priests, rabbis, etc. Was that intentionally? So as not to offend people?
No, I don't think it was intentionally. You know, we live in Israel is a religious state, although most of the people are secular. So for us, it's there. You know, that's why mercy killing won't be legal in Israel. So we don't feel we need to say it in the movie because it's obvious for us.
It's already there.
It's already there.
In the minds of people.
Yeah.
So are you saying this is a very controversial subject and better not push it too far?
I don't know if it's controversial in Israel, because in Israel too we have a gray area. I mean, the doctor will call the family and he will tell them, come today, it will be his last day, we will give him morphine and we will end it. But, you know, it's a gray area. We know that it's there, but...
I can imagine. I don't know how to... Euthanasia is controversial almost everywhere.
Okay.
But especially in Israel with, this generation of actors. These are people in their 80s and 90s, so they have witnessed a period in the history of the Jewish people where euthanasia was not something you decided on yourself. Doesn't that make it more uneasy?
I don't think that for Israeli people it's uneasy. I know that our film is a co-production between Israel and Germany, and
that makes it even more.
And you know that
uneasy.
Our German producer is here with us today.
Hello, welcome.
And over there, when we started searching for money in Germany, the title of the film was My Sweet Euthanasia. And no one wanted to give money to the script. And then our producer, Thanasis, said, maybe we have to change the name. And only when we changed the name of the script in English, we managed to get the money in Germany.
Okay, if it's a party, it's okay. No, but really, this was a problem in Germany, but not in Israel?
I don't think so, because in Israel, you hear a lot about people, of course, people that have money that goes to Dignitas in Switzerland to do so. Some of them are famous, and these cases are in the news. And I don't think it rings this, it doesn't push this button of the Third Reich in Israel.
But in Germany it did.
But in Germany it did.
Okay. When you first rehearsed with the actors, did they have because they sort of are pretty close, all of them, because of their age, to dying eventually. Did you have a lot of extra input from them? Do you even allow that?
We were fighting for 3 days on one word in a sentence, so.
So
we were very strict.
No, they have their input, of course, in the rehearsals. We listen a lot to them, and we really know them very well. So their input is previously in the script. It's already there.
Okay, from all the actors, not
we
only of the
we know them very good.
They're very well-known actors in Israel, and so.
Well, you told us about writing together and the couple therapy that you needed. And there are more teams of writers, even more than 2 people working on one script. But directing together is something we hardly ever, and I mean, you can't fight 3 days over 1 minute when you're directing a group of actors. How do you solve that problem?
I think that we're solving in the script stage. That's why we went to a couple therapy. We wanted to come to the set and to be one. We didn't want to have argues there.
We do a lot of preparations.
Yeah.
You know, we draw all the storyboard, and we make all our fights at home. When we come to the set, we don't argue at all.
And on the set, we're doing everything together. We're talking with the actors together, action, cut, you know. If someone wants to talk with one of us, he will have to come to two of us.
Okay, so there are very strict rules, and, and you need them in order to be able to successfully work together.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about the place of this theme in society, in Jewish society. How was the reaction, or in Israeli society? How was the reaction when the film came out?
It was a very good reaction. It had a lot of admissions in Israel, and people wrote us a lot of very emotional letters. A lot of people that had been in this situation wrote us and saying thank you for bringing this subject out.
Opening it up.
Yeah, openly in there, and you know, there is I will tell you something from the movie, but
not too many spoilers.
No.
Okay.
But there is a machine in the movie.
A mercy-killing machine.
Mercy-killing machine. And I tell you that everywhere we go with the movie, people come to us and tell us, "Did you keep the machine? Can can we use it?"
I don't know if that's comedy or sort of comedy turned into tragedy. Too much real life. And are the reactions different in Israel than abroad?
No,
because you premiered in Venice as well.
Yeah, it was amazing. We were very tense in the Venice premiere, and we were sitting very tense in the screening. And from the first scene, the audience were laughing out loud, and it was releasing We Can Breathe, and it was amazing to see that comedy do travel.
Yeah, because that was something that also popped up in my mind. One of your films has been remade or is being remade in the US.
My previous film that I directed with Erez Tadmor is being remade by Paramount Pictures in the US.
I was thinking the US, which is a bit more of a conservative society, does it have to be remade in order to be shown there, you think? Or can you just show your
we have a US distributor,
you have a distributor
to this
there.
film. Yeah.
And
for
I think
this film?
For this film,
this one is not already. It's not been purchased to remake yet.
But would it be necessary to remake it or is this
I
so
know,
universal
I think this movie is universal, and you can see it everywhere we go with it. But Americans like to remake.
Okay, keeps the industry going. Okay. Finally, you've been very open about your therapy, etc., and your difficulties. But you started with a subject that intrigued you. Did your own ideas change while making the film, or have you come to a different conclusion than you had when you started? This is as personal as I will get.
I will tell you, I never thought it's so difficult to do it, mercy killing. And I tell you, in the pre-production of this movie, I had to put to sleep 2 of my dogs. Dogs.
Yeah.
And it was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do. And it was just before shooting. And so, of course, we're both for freedom of choice, and if a person wants to leave this place and end his suffering and die with dignity, we are for it. But
that's how you set out.
Yeah. But it's very, very difficult to do it.
Once you're there, confronted.
Yeah.
And is that the same for you?
I don't know. I don't like to suffer. I know that the day that I will need to do it. I think that I hope that we will have the solution in Israel, or maybe I'll save the money to go to a trip to Switzerland.
But you also share the conclusion that maybe doing it is much harder than thinking about it and discussing it.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
When you're in the moment, the true moment, it will be difficult, that's for sure.
Well, let's see how their reaction will be after the screening. Thank you very much for this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
De film van vanavond komt uit Brazilië en heet Neighboring Sounds. Wat gebeurt er als privébeveiligers hun diensten aanbieden bij gegoede Brazilianen in een keurige buitenwijk in Recife?
Dit programma werd mede mogelijk gemaakt door het International Film Festival Rotterdam.